just of the general area you have found yourselves in, which right now is a sort of blood-stained, snowy forest clearing.
There's a
But
number of things I want to do.
yeah, what do you want to do?
First of all, I take some time and is this first of all? No, first of all, I will stop, open my alchemical bag. It's got my traveling laboratory in it. Take out my tongs and an empty vial of that I use for gathering alchemical ingredients, and I sop some of this blood up and
The
cork
reindeer
it.
blood?
Yes.
All right, not just Moriarty's blood, because some of that was also spilled.
I look at Moriarty briefly, consider it, and no, and then go back and just gather stuff that's important.
All right.
And then after that is done, I will carefully wrap it and put it away so I don't touch the blood, ideally,
All right.
and spend some time using clean snow and scrubbing Yuri clean from all the
From
blood that's
blood.
on Yuri. Yes, he has now shrunk back down to regular pig size.
Regular
Uh,
pig size, not miniature pig size, or
no,
miniature pig
no,
size?
regular pig size. The picture that shows him on the
Okay.
for Cersei is probably about Irish setter size.
Okay.
So
He is now the size of an Irish setter.
yes. I will also then just take out something else that I have in my alchemical bag. And I just mentioned to the other two that Katri gave me something as we were leaving, and I thought it was nice. I thought maybe it was just one of those village cultural things, but I don't know. Maybe it's going to help us in the forest against these things. So, and I take this out and I maybe it scares them off. I don't know, but I'm not taking chances anymore.
Moriarty
It
looks back
remind
to the reindeer that he's been examining. It'd scare me off.
he
Excellent.
tells the reindeer. All right. Does anyone else wish to do anything here?
Yeah, he's examining the reindeer before he's going to look around the area a bit. He realizes, being a professor and learned man, that this is not typical reindeer behavior and not typical reindeers in general. So he's just interested to see if he can learn anything from an examination in the field with what he has available. And when done, he's going to look a bit around from, but not too far, because he doesn't really know if there's more in the area. And he did struggle against these four-legged beasts from Christmas Hell.
As they shall now be known. From his investigation of the reindeer, he can't really determine anything that you weren't able to sort of observe previously. They seem to have, at some point, as far as you can tell, have been regular reindeer. That would be your guess. There's nothing about them that seems to imply they are some sort of new, strange creature that has never existed before. They appear to be altered, regular reindeer. They have very sharp teeth,
Are the teeth
and
filed, or are they
nope, they're just sharp.
they're that way
Yep.
unnaturally, but not
Yes.
manufactured? So
It doesn't look like somebody spent a long time filing down the
right,
reindeer's teeth.
right. That's what
It
he's.
is now also not something that you can tell looking at them now that they are no longer alive, but when they were alive, their behavior seemed very unlike that of
Aggressive,
regular reindeer.
more
Reindeer
aggressive.
tend to
Yeah.
be prey animals, and these were not acting anything like that.
And once done, he's gonna just look around the area. So I don't know what else
Okay.
everyone else wants to do. Anyone else? I know Kel said she had a few things she wanted to do.
Yeah, after I'm done the scrubbing the pig clean, I'm just going to take out my Pharmaca book and start sketching a couple of these strange things with the animals, like their teeth and such. Looking them over fairly carefully to see how they differ from a regular reindeer. I mean, obviously the teeth, but I don't know.
Teeth are the biggest thing.
Do people brand their reindeer? Like, do people own reindeer? I'm just asking the other two in
People.
general.
Oh, it was not a GM question.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I would know, but You all are worldly travelers.
I do not feel the possibility is inconceivable. The further north you go, horses may not be the most viable creature to use during winter, but I do not know for certain. Is there any mark on them, like a
There is no brand that you can see on any of the reindeer. Anybody who would like to discover something, there is something to be discovered, and I will say that the opposition level of this here discovery is 3. So if anyone wants to make a position check and attempt to get a 3 in discovering, please be my guest. What I will say is that as a group, you are going to stumble across this. It's just going to take you a bit longer than it would have had someone been able to sort of find it on purpose. But after some time, people are still investigating at this point with less purpose, I suppose. We've got some sort of wondering about the nature of the reindeer, but there's not as much you're finding to go on. Eventually, you do notice that there is a set of footprints that does not belong to any of you, and certainly does not belong to a reindeer, being as how they appear to be from something with 2 legs wearing boots of some description. And the footprints are accompanied by blood droplets, and they lead farther off into the woods. A little bit off the path that you are following. Still in the same general direction. So say I think you're traveling west, we said. May or may not be true. If
I
anybody's
can see.
watching and I didn't say west last time, continuity error.
We were just following a trail, whatever direction it went. So
Yes. But if you were going west, it's like it's still sort of west. It just goes a little bit off the trail and kind of away slightly.
I
The
could just
reindeer
see
have
that
learned how to
the
walk on their hind legs,
The
yeah,
reindeer have gotten boots and now walk on 2 legs. Yes.
I could
and
see
they
that.
wear boots now.
Yeah, you see the pale
Yeah.
medic was standing there by the tree, just ignoring everything, and looks down and sees a footprint and starts putting his foot beside it, noticing the size difference and the blood droplets and stuff on it, and then notice that they head off in a different direction. Just found the only clue standing there.
do they look male or female? The boot, does it? Can I tell?
I mean, it's not necessarily something you can easily tell
So
you
it's
if
not
you were
like
going by.
I can tell their footprints, but not like it's not like a nicely shaped footprint.
Not a smaller versus a huge
Yeah.
It is a
mountain man.
little smaller. So if we're going by average foot size, you would say more likely to be a woman. Although that's not. Moriarty knows that that is not an exact science.
Exactly. And he's not
Uh,
assuming she'd be wearing high heel kind of boots
yes,
out
I
in
was
the
gonna say it isn't like stiletto
no.
footprints or anything.
Is
That
Snow
would be
from
most
royalty?
impractical. Is Miss Snow royalty?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, too bad. Moriarty might get his
Know
extra
how to
dice on
deal
that.
with her.
If do you think any of you would are you aware of the hunter Miss Snow? Do any of you feel like you have I would say of any of you, Cersei would actually be the most likely to have met or
Okay.
talked to her. She is she's a sorceress of
Oh, okay.
sorts. She's a little bit interesting. She seems almost when you first meet her to not really be at a level that you would think the order would be interested in recruiting someone at. She
Hmm.
seems to be still sort of learning a lot, but there are rumors that every once in a while she kind of does some pretty incredible stuff, but that she never really seems to be able to do it when she plans to.
Hmm. I can sort of relate. So yeah, I might have since my dark ego one is kind of a increase in that sort of thing too. I might have bumped into her once I heard that that was the case and asked her. And how hers manifests if she's willing to talk about it. And like, does she study also? Like, I'm very studious, and
She's still learning. She's interested in learning a lot. You do know it does make sense that she would have been sent here specifically in for at least one reason. One thing you know about her is that she is completely unaffected by cold. She would not even need a coat here. This is just, she'd be totally fine. She probably could have walked around barefoot, but she just probably doesn't, because that would probably be really weird to people. Uh, Cold weather, ice, snow, none of that is a problem for her. It just completely does not seem to affect her. And you know that all her magic is also cold based,
hmm,
hence the name.
I'm definitely muttering that under my breath as I'm, trying to warm up my hands.
You're
I
like,
wish I was like Miss Snow and this wouldn't bother me.
cold never bothered her anymore. Oh dear.
You found footprints?
I think we should examine them, as in follow them.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious why they didn't stay on the trail.
It is possible that and he thumps one of the reindeer, that they became aware of these creatures, but that is speculation.
Well,
Or
you
was
said there
it
was blood,
us that
right?
did?
There is also blood. Theirs or something else I cannot ascertain at this time. Steady every few steps, but not, initially at least, dangerously so.
Well, Miss Snow went missing at least a few days ago, right?
She, I believe, has been gone for a week.
Well, guess either they're better or they're not, but maybe we should check in case.
That is my thinking.
And are you following the footprints?
Moriarty is following the footprints into the wilderness.
Do you
All
need a
right.
magnifying glass?
That was
No.
when he said he was examining rather than
Yeah,
following.
that's
Pulls out a ruler, measures them.
that was more Holmes's style.
The tracks lead you to something not entirely unexpected, as previously today you were told of the existence of such buildings. It appears to be a small hunting lodge. You see a faint trail of smoke from the chimney, which does indicate that someone is probably there, but you don't see or hear any movement.
And Moriarty looks around and looks back. Unless I was mistaken, this was not on the track. This seems an odd place for a lodge.
Hmm?
Well, I don't think it's too far off. I mean, the track we were following really wasn't much of a track, anyways. Start heading for the building.
All right. It is small. It's a little run down. I mean, you don't know how often the hunters of the village sort of maintain these little huts, but it's something that would keep out some of the cold at least, somewhere that the snow or rain is not going to fall on you. And smoke continues to come from the chimney. Not a lot of smoke, not a roaring fire happening in there, you don't think, but it's something.
Hello, hello, hello. Go up to the door, knock a couple of times. Hello, nothing. Nobody answers. I'm going in because it's warmer in there than it is out here.
Actually, after you call a few times, there is an answer. It's a quiet voice that seems hopefully apprehensive. And you hear, "Who is it?"
This is Cersei. I'm with a couple of friends. We're
Sir, oh, um, hold on. And you hear a sort of shuffling from within. Whoever's moving seems to be doing so rather slowly. And there's a lot of noise at the door as though things need to be moved out of the way before it can be opened. But eventually, the door is pushed open just a crack, and you see someone who is familiar to at least Cersei. I don't know if the other two of you said you'd met her or not, but it is the missing hunter, Miss Snow. She looks terrible. She's always been rather pale, but she looks paler. She has not bandages, 'cause clearly she didn't have bandages with her, but she has some torn cloth wrapped around sort of her side or just around her whole midsection that is bloody. And she looks very tired and very worried. But looking at you, she seems satisfied that you are who you say you are. So she will let you inside.
oh, Snow. Oh my God, you don't look well at all. Can we come in?
Uh, yeah, yes. She actually seems a little more worried when you ask that, but she will still let you in.
It's okay if you haven't cleaned it up lately or anything.
No, that's fine. Yes, come in,
Uh,
and she'll let you in.
I'll just let Yuri in first, and that may put her more at ease because, I mean, how many people travel with a pig? So,
If you are concerned that we are vampires, let me put your mind at ease. Only one of us is.
Vampires, I suppose that would. I wonder. No, I wasn't exactly worried about that. It's only that last night, and the night before. When did you get here? How much do you know about what is happening?
Not as much as I would like. We have come quite a distance to find you.
My apologies. I've been unable to leave this place. Anytime I try, the reindeer, well, it almost seems as though they are patrolling, which seems an odd word to ascribe to. Well, I suppose they are hardly regular animals.
They are hardly regularly anything anymore. They have been dealt with. Or at least, some of them have. I do not know how many there are in total.
There, I have seen at least 10 at one time. I could not tell you if there are more or not. They tend to wander around fairly regularly. I have tried to leave once or twice, but I've always had to run back here. But last night and the night before, it was not only the reindeer. Nikola? You know of Nikola?
Yes, he was a possible candidate involved in kidnapping.
Yes, I went to speak with him. I did. I didn't learn very much at all. I was on my way back to the village to try and clear up something with the elders I hadn't yet spoken with when I was attacked by the reindeer. But the past 2 nights, Nikola has come to the door and he's asked to be invited in repeatedly. I told him no because I wasn't sure what he wanted. I was, uh, truth be told, a little worried it could be a trick. He said he needed help defeating a terrible monster, but when I asked him for more information, he refused. He simply continued to ask me to invite him in, and when I would not, he eventually left, muttering to himself.
And he did not bring up this desired partnership when you went to his estate.
No. He. When I first spoke with him, I don't know how I would describe his demeanor. He seemed much less worried than he did when he came to the door. He seemed to feel he had whatever situation he is now trying to deal with more under control, I suppose, but for whatever reason, when he's come to request aid, he has seemed quite worried.
While we're inside, if she is still looking not well, I'll ask, have a quiet word with the pale medic if he can do anything for her.
This should help. It's nothing fancy, but it should do the trick.
All right, and are you giving her a vial of blood?
Yep.
She will drink it. Um, maybe a little apprehensively. I mean, it is fairly clearly blood, even if you weren't sure, just seeing red liquid in a vial as soon as you open it and it is blood. So she's not
Thick and
entirely.
coagulated. Ew.
Yeah, it's who knows how long you've had that. She'll drink it because hey, she's a hunter. You're all hunters. Hunters just kind of do weird
Have
stuff
weird
anyway.
stuff.
So
Cersei would encourage her. It's fine. I had one when I was an elephant. It was okay.
she'll just sort of nod, accepting Cersei's word that this is not a bad thing to do. So she will drink the blood, and as you expected that it would, it does seem to help her. I mean, you can't see the wound where it is right now, but she seems to perk up a little as she drinks it. She's a little less pale. She looks a little less unsteady. And she thanks you. And handing the glass vial back to you, she'll say, thank you. I appreciate it.
Moriarty will take out a notebook and flick through it till he comes to the pale medic section, and he will turn and look at him and say, "Sir, do you have any training as an actual medic?"
I have a doctorate
In what?
in psychology.
Ah, that explains, and he makes some notes.
Oh, sorry. Go
We
ahead.
were on the way to examine Nikola's location. There was some thought you may have still been there, as well as the missing individuals.
Yes, I asked to speak with the people because according to the elders of the village, they simply chose to go work there. Nikola informed me that they were busy working, and I could not speak with them. That was one of the reasons I was returning to the village. I had hoped to speak more with the families of those who were missing or the elders. I hoped maybe the elders could speak with him. They seem on good terms with Nikola. Perhaps they could have arranged a meeting or something like that, but, well, I never made it back to the village, so.
I'm glad we found you.
As, as am I. A little surprised, to be honest, but a pleasant surprise. Are you continuing on to speak with Nikola then?
I think we have to.
Can
Do
we do a
you
better
wish
job than Miss Snow?
Well, I think we could be a little maybe forceful in actually asking and trying to see these individuals.
you certainly are greater in number, if you wish to
We also have
attempt intimidation.
and we also have the additional question as to what's this problem that he has.
That is true. Do you wish for me to accompany you? If not, I can continue back to the village.
I do not wish to appear rude, but I am unsure of what your capabilities are.
Mainly uh, based upon cold. Uh, yes,
Hmm.
as the
Very useful
GM.
defensively here, but I'm not so sure otherwise.
If you, well, I suppose I don't fight terribly often, but if you wished to fight, I can do so, mainly with ice-based things. I also have the ability to, well, it, it it sounds odd. This is going to sound odd, but if I kiss someone just on the cheek or something like that, I can make them immune to cold, or I can erase one of their memories, or I can kiss an object and make it very brittle uh, from cold.
Interesting. Very useful for keeping things secret, I would guess. The memory forgetting part.
I suppose if you wished someone, it doesn't work perhaps quite like you're thinking. It can't be something that happened a long time ago. It
Hmm.
needs to be sort of something immediate.
So if one of us insulted Nicholas, for example, you could kiss him on the cheek and he would forget that we insulted him.
Yes,
Could you turn him brittle?
he is not an object. I could attempt to freeze him, um, but he wouldn't shatter like a thing. He might simply be stalled or injured, but not, you know, completely destroyed.
To hear some of the villagers talk of him, he sounded very much an object of desire.
Um, how so?
A large benefactor, making their lives far greater.
Ah, sorry. By your wording, I thought you meant that they wished to court him.
No, I spoke
Um,
to Piper. He likes to try to use his abilities based on the wording as vaguely as possible.
did you wish me to accompany you, or I can return to the village
What
instead?
state are you in now?
I am feeling much better than I was before. I drank. Was that blood?
It was my blood.
Oh, all right. Good.
I don't think can she kiss herself and forget she did that?
No,
Remove
just
that memory?
just does it all the time.
Yeah,
Anytime something she doesn't like
exactly.
happens, just like,
Oh,
oh, I said something so embarrassing.
exactly.
Oh dear.
I realize that you are better than you were, but you were more pale than our vampire friend here, so that may not be saying a lot.
Well, I could manage.
I don't know. We still have all those reindeer out there somewhere, and I'd hate for you to run into them again.
I would not like to run into the reindeer again either. However, I think I should like to run into them by myself on the way back, even less than I should like to run into them with three other people.
Oh, just as long as you
That
are
makes
aware
sense.
that we are heading towards Nikola's mansion.
Yes, as I recall, it was largely reindeer free. So,
Although, if he wishes to speak with you, we will be in the open. He will not be asking for permission to enter.
No, but I also will not be alone and gravely wounded.
Very well.
Hey.
And are you feeling recovered, Miss Snow? Like, other than your wounds, like any other after effects of the reindeer attack?
No, I have felt nothing, I suppose, unusual about the wound. It simply seemed to be a matter of, I will
Good.
not say a mundane wound, as it was from an unnatural creature, but I would. There was nothing magical about it, from what I could tell.
As long
Now,
as you're feeling capable.
the GM will say, if anyone else, um, I don't remember if anyone has any wounds left or
No,
what,
mine was
but
healed
fair
from the
enough.
blood, but I
If
don't
people
know
wanted an
if he needs an
interlude,
interlude. Yeah, does anyone need
That
an
was my
interlude
question.
to get stuff
Uh,
back?
can I use an interlude to get more blood back?
well, anyone can do an interlude. Because you just all do it at the same time. It's just
Well, I
taking a
guess
little break.
can I use
So
the interlude to take the point to get more blood and then
take the point to get more blood.
because the
Oh, you mean you want to take a
HP
wound to?
get more blood? Yes,
I
fill
think
up
you still
the
have
bottom.
some vials of blood because you've
I
not
do,
used
but
12 yet.
can I just refill them just to make sure I have 12 going into whatever?
I don't think you have enough wounds to refill all of them. You actually should have recovered wound because you recover a wound at the end of every scene, right?
Ooh,
What's your
yes,
deal? You have a thing
forgot
like
about that.
that.
I do. That would have been good. I could have been filling them up even more.
All right, I will remind you what you can do during an interlude. You can spend an experience. Okay, firstly, any descriptor you've used at all, as in tied anything to, um, you can you could have checked off when you did that, and anything that you checked off, you can convert into an experience point. That is a good thing to do, as in you should do it every time there's an interlude because you can't check it more than once while it's checked. But if you make it an experience point now and you use it again later, then you could check it again. With
Is
experience,
that what the circles are on the
Yes.
character sheet?
yes, that's what they're for.
Ah, okay.
And is
Or
that
I
in
now
the
get blood
case of,
unchecked?
droplets.
yes, it would now be unchecked. Or in the case of the pale medic, I believe they're blood drops.
Yep, I get
And
blood
in the
droplets.
case of other people, maybe they're other things, but I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, that's what the circles are for. During an interlude, you can spend an experience point to recover one wound, or you can spend an experience point to recover two soma. Okay. So, there is currently a scenario gift that anybody who wants to could obtain by spending experience. It is called Aberration Killer. And the reason you could get it if you want is because you have eliminated a herd of reindeer. If you take this situation, if you take a scenario gift, this one, the description is you have learned how to deal with creatures empowered by dark magic. Once per scene, if you vanquish an enchanted creature at the discretion of the storyteller, I guess that means I decide whether or not the creature was enchanted, you will recover one soma and gain 1 XP. You can only ever have one scenario gift active at a time, so the other one I'm not telling you about because no one's met the criteria for it yet. But if you met the criteria for that one and had an interlude and I told you about it and you liked it more, you could get rid of the other one and have that one, but you can never have two at a time.
So what was that available one?
It is Aberration Killer. You have learned how to deal with creatures empowered by dark magic. Once per scene, if you vanquish an enchanted creature at the discretion of the storyteller, you will recover one soma and gain 1 XP.
I
What's
will take that.
considered an enchanted creature?
I believe that is up to me. As in brackets, it says at the discretion of the storyteller.
Okay.
Were
I
the
just
reindeer
wasn't sure.
considered enchanted?
They, I believe, yep, they would be because they are how you actually got the
Okay. I will spend an XP on obtaining that one.
Okay, let me just double check that it's just
Me too, me too, me too.
you two, you two, you two. You also want that one?
Getting free XP, kind of? It's awesome, yeah.
Ah,
Do we
So
get a
more
double
than one
XP
person
weekend?
can.
No,
okay, it is 1 XP for
yeah, it's
a
one XP,
scenario
but
gift.
not
Okay.
one. Not only one person can take that one, right?
Yeah, no, anyone who wants that can take it. So anyone who wants that can spend 1 XP, and I'm just going to copy that description and put it in here so that people don't forget what it does.
So I used 2 descriptors, I guess. So that converts to 2 XP, correct?
Yep.
Do you get all your soma back after an adventure?
After a scenario, yeah, you would.
Yeah, I will, I guess. We'll see how this works out.
All right. So now, what would everyone like to do?
Rest for a little, warm up.
Definitely warm
And
up.
and you can make the fire bigger if you want. You get the sense she was maybe using it more for something like cooking or warming up food or whatever it is because
Feel
she's
the
not
cold.
bothered by the cold, so it wouldn't have been a warmth thing. But now that there are people who don't like the cold, you can make the
Yep.
fire a bit bigger. There's wood stored in here for if the hunters ever use it, so you're able to get a good fire going pretty quickly.
And then once that's done, after a bit of time, Moriarty will look to the group and say, when we are ready, I think we should make headway towards our destination.
Sounds good. We must almost be there already, right?
It was a 6-hour walk. We're just gonna say, sure.
10 minutes outside the village.
We're almost there, right?
Are we
Are
there
we
yet?
there yet?
The entire time. And Miss Snow's like, I've already done this walk like almost twice. The second time I just got ambushed by evil reindeer. Stop complaining. All right. Walking through the woods, you do not run into any more reindeer, although you occasionally feel like you hear footsteps sort of crunching in the snow off to the side, maybe behind you, but you don't see any reindeer. And whether or not that is comforting, it's up for you to decide for yourselves.
I'm very comforted.
Perfect. You're like, if I don't see them, they can't get me. Yeah. If I can't see them, they can't see me. And
Exactly.
after some time,
It's
you
scared.
yeah.
Like the what's it called? Starship Trooper. What does he say?
Yeah.
I can sense it.
It's
It's scared or
afraid, yeah.
something.
Yeah, the reindeer are terrified of you.
They should be. They got pummeled by an elephant and a pig.
You get the sense that actually maybe yes, if they are watching you, perhaps they have the sense that I don't know, you did some weird stuff back there. They're not really sure what to make of you because elephants don't normally hang out in these woods. So even reindeer that weren't part of your fight perhaps saw, definitely heard the elephant being there.
Yeah.
Well, the result?
So yeah,
And
eventually
they still almost won.
they did. Eventually the forest starts to thin out a bit. The path becomes a little bit wider, and you are, as Miss Snow informs you, approaching Nicola's estate. You can see as you get closer that it consists of 2 main buildings on either side of a large garden. One of the buildings seems to be a mansion, not a massive one, which does make sense because from what you know of Nikola, he does not have a family or anything like that. He lives alone with what you heard from one of the village elders, the sort of bare minimum number of staff to keep his mansion going. And the other building you see looks a bit more industrial, almost something like a not quite a factory because it doesn't have the automation you would sort of associate with a factory. There doesn't seem to be any steam or any other sort of form of machinery necessarily, but it may be a workshop.
Any
Stride.
sounds or smoke or anything like that rising from?
Currently, you can hear sounds coming from the building that could be a workshop. You don't see or hear anything from the mansion, but there are sounds from the other building.
Do do do. Well, keep going.
Stride forward.
Excellent. Where do you want to go?
Workshop.
Ask Miss Snow as we go up. Is there any way we should introduce ourselves, or What was your feeling when you talked to him last time? Is he big on ceremony, or?
He seemed rather unenthusiastic about speaking to me. I was here. Well, it's already different than when I was here last. I was here at night because I arrived later in the day, and by the time I'd made my way here, it was already dark. Well, I knew the walk was long, but I suppose I didn't quite expect how long it would be. So when I was here, um the other building, it didn't seem to
Hmm.
be in use. I suppose at least it was quiet. Uh, the manor though is where I went, and I spoke to Nikola there. He let me in, but he didn't really seem to wish to talk. He said all his employees would be sleeping by then, and that I couldn't speak with them. Um, there were a few servants in there. None of the people that I had been told were missing or anything like that. Just there was a cook, a butler, and an accountant, I think.
Hmm.
Did anything appear unusual about any of those individuals?
Not unusual necessarily. I would say they seemed very dedicated to their work. Perhaps unusually so for people just serving a very small household in the middle of nowhere. But then again, everyone in the village does seem quite impressed by Nikola. Perhaps they're simply happy to be able to work for him.
Some kind of psychosis or mind control, perhaps, Doctor?
Perhaps, but I have not met any of them, have I? The man sounds unusual, but we do not really have any evidence of malicious intent.
And where did you go before, Miss Snow?
Before?
The workshop, the manor?
Oh, as I said, I only went to the manor. The workshop it was night. No one was working.
He will continue towards the workshop.
Okay.
Oh, just follow. I'm keeping my eye out as well to see if there's any reindeer tracks anywhere.
There aren't, at least not on the estate grounds.
Okay.
There may have been some you spotted. You definitely saw reindeer tracks sort of in the forest while you were walking. And occasionally small spots of blood, although it seemed perhaps more like an animal had been hunted rather
Hmm.
than anyone else fleeing the reindeer and holing up in small hunting lodges. Yes. All right, and you can approach the workshop. Nothing prevents you from doing so. Once you reach it, what would you like to do?
If there's an entrance, he would like to try it.
Are there windows?
Uh, there are a few windows, but they're quite high up on the wall. You can't see into them.
Hmm.
Opening the door, you are greeted by an overwhelming amount of clutter. Toys are piled everywhere. Tools and workbenches can be seen, but are nearly buried in the mess. The toy factory is alive with noise and movement. 12 people in green uniforms and strange pointed hats are busily working on various toys, navigating through this cluttered space with surprising ease.
Hmm.
Strange.
They look very industrious.
Do their faces look blank?
Uh, like no, they don't. They don't seem like they're.
Under a
I don't
spell.
know. Well, you don't know that, but they seem aware of their surroundings anyway. They have not currently noticed you as there is a lot of noise in there.
He would like to walk up to the nearest one
Okay?
and
I'm just gonna.
remove the pointy hat.
He's just an
Sure.
asshole. It's a cool hat. A cool pointy hat.
Well, I'm not throwing it on the
Uh,
ground and stomping on it. I just want to.
the figure whose hat you have removed turns to look at you with some confusion. She is a woman. You think perhaps in her 30s. She has dark hair and she looks a bit annoyed, perhaps. And she says, "Excuse me, I'm very busy. What do you need?"
I'm very busy too. I require answers.
"I don't have any time to give you answers. I'm working." "Please, may I have my hat back?"
No. I will happily give you your hat back once I have the answers I need.
She looks annoyed again, but she turns back to her work. She's working on some sort of mechanical toy. It's not finished, but you think it looks like it could be shaping up to be some sort of lion, maybe. And she simply goes back to her work, now looking annoyed to be deprived of her hat.
Quite the diplomat.
I am not trying to be diplomatic. I was trying to test just one theory.
And that theory is
If there was
Mind
some.
control hats.
Yeah, possibly, right? Tin foil, but in this case, elf hats. Her dedication to duty, it seems to be, though, far beyond what one would expect.
And as you've now sort of announced yourselves by virtue of having a conversation and removing one of the workers' hats, a few of the other workers have noticed you, and you really don't get the sense that any of them are particularly happy that you are there.
Oh, of that we are of the same mind, then.
They're all sort of still really focused on their various tasks, but every once in a while they look up at you and there is a certain sense of hostility in the air. You get
Ask
the
them if they're
sense.
from.
Oh, sorry, go
Ask them
ahead.
if they're from the village.
Which of you are from the village?
Uh, Nobody really answers you except the woman who you're right by turns back to look at you and says, "All of us are. Obviously, it's the only place for miles. Now, would you stop disturbing our work?"
I am unable to do so. Your family members are wanting to spend time with you at Christmas.
Perhaps that will be possible after Christmas. Until then, there is much to be done.
Well, you have been missing for a while now.
One is missing. We are all here.
You're not there.
No, we are here.
Yes, not there.
Why are you pointing upwards?
He gives him the hat.
Th-
She's gone back to her mechanical lion, looking even more annoyed.
Well, they don't seem, other than overworked, maybe, they don't seem under duress.
No. But this does not seem natural to you, does it?
I mean, they're busy. I mean, maybe they have a deadline.
Some of these people have not been back for a couple of years. That
You know that.
seems
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
excessive.
You know
Those are
that
the
all of them have been gone for 3 years because there was only 1 year that people did not pay the pledge and people went missing.
maybe they just don't like their family.
Maybe.
Well, I didn't like mine either, but at the same time, for them all to show the very same level of dedication to their work and this misguided idea that if they finish by this Christmas that they would go back.
She didn't seem particularly invested in the idea of spending time with it. You just get the sense she was sort of waving you off with yeah, maybe after Christmas. You do?
Can,
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, can you give her hat back? Because I don't think we need. It doesn't seem to be disturbing them at all.
It is annoying her.
But it would annoy me if you took my hat too. And I just got this one at the village, so.
Are you jealous of the hats?
The green hat? No,
Moriarty just really wants a pointy hat.
I was curious if the more annoyed they got, if it would break their line of thinking.
They are getting more annoyed the longer you stand there, but the sense you are getting in the room is not that if you get to a certain point they will snap and give up their devotion to toy making. It's more like they might snap and try and punch you.
Well, I think we all want to do that to Moriarty, but shall we find the man at the top?
If we are correct, will he be at the top or will he be in a crypt? You are the expert on this idea.
Well, then he would be the man in the high castle.
Lead the way, sir, and I will follow.
We head to Transylvania.
Perfect.
I will just pluck the hat from Moriarty's hands on his way by and take it to the woman. Go, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. We're leaving. Here you go.
She just gives you a sort of nod. She's not. She's still annoyed, but she's happy to have her hat back, I guess. She doesn't
Oh,
seem thrilled, but you get the sense she's relieved.
just a real quick question. Do you like Nikola?
Uh, yes. Of course, everyone does.
And he takes good care of you.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, thank you.
All right. Are you heading to the manor?
Yep. And Moriarty was going to do this anyway. On the way out, he's going to take someone else's hat.
They also turn to you annoyed, but just kind of shake their head and go back to working on a set of really intricately carved wooden blocks.
He doesn't even look at them. He doesn't think he's going to learn anything from it. He is literally, at this point, just being a bit of a dick.
Cersei's
You
like,
are
"Why?"
jealous.
And he'll toss it away when we get outside.
Just onto the snow.
Yeah, he's just trying to annoy the workers.
All right.